You're at 109 right now.
Mic check. Microphone check. That's your mic right there. All right, so we're back at another episode. This is Big Mike and Big Mike and Larry catching up. So this is just for starters right now. Testing mic test 1 2 1 2.
So what did you want to talk about?
So you need to pull the microphone stand closer to you to adjust it. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Man, what can we talk about here? What's been up?
Nothing much. What's up with you? How's school going? You still not teaching?
I know, man. That's such a that's heartbreaking. I'm like, oh man, what am I doing? Still not teaching with these students. The last we're on vacation now, and so this last week, well, vacation started yesterday. So this last week, I took 3 days off. I was like, I'm not coming in. I want to get this vacation started earlier.
Did they get you? Did you get paid?
No,
You don't have sick days?
I've already used them.
You only been in class since August, and you didn't use all your sick time.
Did I use it? Yeah, yeah.
You lazy as fuck.
So man, it's been an interesting few months, interesting time, but this is cool to have. So we had a vacation for Thanksgiving, and then that was 1 week, and then we came back for 2 weeks, and now we have a 3 week vacation, and I'm like, adjusting to the 1 week, Thanksgiving vacation was difficult. Coming back after that week was like, we're doing this again just for 2 weeks, and then
You don't do shit.
man,
You're a substitute. You don't even teach.
well, it feels like a waste of time. Feels like a waste of my time, at least.
Well,
But I do have my moments. I do have my moments when I do share, where students are like, "Hey," they call me Mister Sanchez in the what is that called in the Spanish classroom. I'm,
for what?
I'm Mister Sanchez because you got to immerse yourself in the. If you can't immerse yourself in the culture, you've got to bring yourself closer to it somehow and just feel the vibe.
You gotta pretend to be a Mexican to teach Spanish? I don't think so. My Spanish teachers when I was at prep school was an old Italian football coach named Mr. Restifo and Mrs. Barrett and this young lesbian, and none of them pretended to be Hispanic. I think it's just an academic subject you can get through.
Well,
Mr. Sanchez.
yeah.
At least been an Afro-Cuban.
No, no, no. My middle name is Alfred, so I tell them call me Alfredo, and I choose the my last name Sanchez, Alfredo Sanchez, El Don Alfredo Sanchez de los
I
Angeles.
tell him, call me Tukey Williams.
Oh my goodness! But speaking, in the same vein as bringing yourself closer to the language, it's the Afro Spanish, culture that the black students should be aware of. Afro Cubans, Afro Peruvians, Afro Mexicanos, Afro.
I want to push back on that. I don't give a fuck. I'm a foundational Black American. I don't need to know about none of those other. Because here's the thing: this is how these fucking diasporans act. I'm watching this bitch on YouTube. Now, she her name is
You talk about Yvette?
no. It's this swirler who did. I'll look up her name in a minute. But let me tell you this swirler's fucking story. Now, this bitch, she was given away by her Haitian fucking mother slut to this white woman. This white woman raised her. Fine. She is immersed in white culture. So she joins a rock band. A drummer from another band sluts her out. White boy. He has her baby, or she has his baby. He tells her up front, I will never have anything to do with you or that fucking baby. And he stood on that to this day. Now, mind you, Haitian, born in white culture, had a white man's baby. She got all the smoke for black men.
Oh, okay.
So how does that work? And then if you ask her, she's like, "Don't call me black because culture is something that you're raised in.
Mm.
You have to be given black culture. I was never given black culture. So fine, you're not African American.
Mhm.
You're not. You don't. You get slutted out by white men. You got a white man's child. Why you got all this heat for us? We ain't did shit. We literally have never done shit to you.
Wow.
What's her name? Her name is some dirty whore. I'm gonna give you the name in a second.
You touched on the foundational Black American and American descendants of slaves, ADOS, and that's a key point right there. You have to because that's for us to stand on because that's who we are. That's what defines us. Um, so my thing is, I'm looking more critically at my heroes or at the people who are supposed to, speak for me or speak for us. And I'm even looking, even critically at, Malcolm X, certainly Marcus Garvey, and my favorite artist, Jean-Michel Basquiat. And
Another
wait, yeah. So there are these things where I'm looking at it more critically, like, wait a minute, should I even be supporting these people? Why are these people paraded in front of me like these are the people that I should be supporting? Like, what's going on? Okay, for instance, in the case of Malcolm X, all right, as much as we love and laud and respect his legacy, his mother was from Guyana or maybe Grenada, but she was an immigrant to America and she married his father. Um, and Malcolm's father was a Georgia Negro, and so Malcolm was a first generation African American. Period.
no, he wasn't. His father was from the soil. He was raised in the soil. None of that grenading shit made a fucking difference. All they did was inform on how he looked. He was raised as a black man. All his experiences were of a black man in America.
All right. Well,
That grenading shit was irrelevant.
okay.
Like Drake's father, Aubrey, his father is from Memphis. That nigga grew up a Toronto Jew. That has nothing. The Memphis shit don't have nothing to do with him. He claim it now because it's cool,
His
but
father,
yeah, his father's from Memphis.
but his father is claiming to be a Jew.
No, oh my
No,
god,
Drake
his
is.
his mother is a Canadian Jew. His father is a nigga from Memphis.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So he claims that Memphis shit because of his father's background.
Okay.
Sometimes,
Okay.
but he just confused mulatto.
All
And
right.
just like, but with Malcolm X, and as far as I'm concerned, my love of Malcolm X stops before he goes to Mecca. Everything he says past Mecca, I don't rock with. He was like, uh, what I should when that white girl came up to me and said, what can I do to help? He was right the first time when he said, get the fuck away from me. You want to go do something? See, here's the thing. You got these performative white people, and they like to get around niggas and be all Black Lives Matter and woke. You ain't gotta be woke around me. Go be woke at your Thanksgiving. Make all them niggas uncomfortable. Be woke at Christmas. Go to your job and be woke.
Uh,
You work at Navy Federal. Be woke and approve a bunch of niggas home applications, home loan applications.
yeah.
That's what you can do. The same way that white people at every stage of society attack black Americans, you can fight from wherever you are. You ain't got to come to a fucking meeting.
All right. So speaking of that, being able for a white person to do something in that they have agency over, like in their jobs, they like you said, sign some loans. So I was watching Watermelon Man, a film from the 60s or 70s by Melvin Van Peebles, the late Melvin Van Peebles. Um, so his character, or the character of Watermelon Man, is a white man who buys a sun tanning machine, and he suntans, and I guess he suntanned for too long, and he wakes up a black man. Anyhow, so his life changes because now he's a black man. But the job that he does is he's an insurance salesman, insurance agent, or something like this. And when he becomes black, his boss, sort of relegates him to the black community. He says, "We're changing your accounts. Now you're going to service this area with these people." So when he starts doing that, he does something that he doesn't do that he hasn't done before, which is he starts giving black families advice on how to benefit from life insurance, and he isn't particularly selling them on it, but he's educating them, and he's doing the things that are right. But his boss comes to him and tells him, "What the hell are you doing? Just sell the policy and let's keep it moving." But he has a change of heart because he's like, "Nah, well, I'm doing the right thing because." So to your point, yeah, that's what some of these, I guess, obnoxious liberals, to borrow the phrase from Jean-Michel Basquiat's, the name of his artwork. um, yeah, that's something that they could do. That's something that they have agency over. They could actually do something in their positions that could benefit others.
And
But
let me tell you what else these fucking immigrant
obnoxious.
blacks do.
What?
These fucking immigrant blacks. Now here's the thing: when they have when it's time to award themselves or big up or praise, they're very specific. Jamaican,
Yeah,
Haitian,
yeah,
Nigerian.
yeah.
But when it's something to denigrate, is black this, black that. Oh, I hate these black niggas.
Uh,
No, you date Nigerian men. Why don't you say I hate Nigerian men? But you won't say that because there's repercussions behind that.
mm.
It's easy to take. It's easy to get up. First of all, you was eating fucking mud pies over in Haiti, and now you're gonna get on a plane and act brand new around us. Now somehow you better because you won the State Department lottery, and they let your stupid ass live over here amongst us.
So, all
So
right,
we should reject you off top.
all right. All right. Speaking of that, the winning the lottery, being able to come to America and having a different experience. All right, specifically, let's go to the Jean-Michel Basquiat family. Let's talk about that because here's the backstory on Jean-Michel. In Haiti, his father grew up upper middle class. His so Jean-Michel Basquiat's grandmother was a businesswoman, and in fact, she was of a lighter complexion than the darkest Haitian. And so in Haiti, they have a strong colorist, or they had a strong colorist caste system. The lighter you were, the better off you were. The darker you were, the worse off you were. Now, it probably wasn't, a caste system, and it really wasn't, hey, this is how it is. It was probably some light skinned Haitians were descendants, or mulattoes mixed or somehow with the French, and were better off in some ways. But the fact remains that the majority of the darkest Haitians were not doing as well as some of the lighter families. Now, specifically with the Basquiat family, his father had to leave. They had to exile. They had to escape. They were
Why?
refugees because in came Papa Doc, Papa Doc Duvalier. Papa Doc was from the lowest. He was a lowly, dark skinned black kid, poor, grew up in a poor family, but he was able to rise to power. Came into power and he shook things up. And one of the things he did was take away homes, businesses, and everything that these established mulattoes, lighter blacks had.
Probably
And
did the right thing.
what he did then is, I mean, he was a brutal dictator, you know, because there's talk of him, you know, having used voodoo and had a murder squad basically, and just
But he was American backed.
right, right. He was American back. Okay, now listen. Now the Basquiat family, they were well to do. They were doing well, and when they immigrated to America, Gerard Basquiat, the father, his ideal of success was to be, and he wrote this in his in a booklet, in a little notebook. He said, "My goal in life is to be a successful, I think, businessman or accountant." He might have written to become because he was already an accountant and businessman in Haiti, so it was just a skill that he was just transferring over. But that was his ideal, and you know he was just that in America. But his son, you know, didn't follow in his footsteps, but he chose a path of creativity. And his son, his son's artwork is chock full of black reality in America, which may not have been the experience that he had in Haiti. He may not have looked at himself so clearly as a black man, but when he got to America, he saw himself as, you know, as a black man for all of the experiences that he had, like in New York, not getting cabs, being discriminated against, not being allowed because of the way that he looked into certain establishments, being told, you know, this, that, and the third. So for that, for the fact that he experienced that and he wasn't, you know, pushing back, but he was really riding. He was riding for, you know, black culture and for black, um, you know, being noticed, you know, then Basquiat is still my dude. Still my dude. Even though there are obvious others, or there are obvious other people who went against, like you said, win against or go against, you know, foundational Black Americans or ADOS and what have you.
My thing is that these fucking foreigners think that in general they're better than us. They get in all this talk about we don't have a culture. When they come here, they dick ride our culture, dick ride our accomplishments. They don't recognize the fact that they wouldn't even be in this country if it wasn't for foundational black Americans advocating for them in 64 and 88. So I don't have it. Like, my whole thing is if you are a true ally, I'm cool. But if you're not, let's call it out. Why do we got to pretend like every time you hear these niggas talk is black and brown this? Mexicans don't fuck with you. Look at these politicians in LA. They talk straight cash shit about you. And in the fundamental level, the prisons ain't nothing more raw of an experience than an American prison. And
Yeah.
what do? The Mexicans align themselves with the whites. The Asians align themselves with the whites. It is black men against everybody in California prisons. So why we out here pretending like these Mexicans are your allies? They not your allies in LA. They not your allies in Chicago. They not your allies in Texas.
Well, wait a minute, because there was a profound attack on Derek Chauvin in the news by quote unquote white supremacists who attacked Derek Chauvin, the man, the police officer who killed George Floyd, and his response was basically Black Lives Matter. You don't you don't do that. So,
He's a white supremacist, but he was willing to kill over Black Lives Matter. That is not what happened. It was some sort of internal politics amongst the whites.
hmm,
They're not stabbing nobody up in a prison over ideologies like that.
All right, well,
I don't believe that at all. I believe that's just what he said.
that's what the press ran with. That's the
Of
story that they
course.
got. Um, so let's okay. Marcus Garvey.
Fuck him.
I know, right?
He
Mark.
couldn't get that shit. He couldn't get shit popping with his own people. He come around ours, and we give him some light, give him some money. He was able to get that shit off, and we running with that Pan African bullshit ever
Right.
since. Them Jamaicans had it right. See, here's the thing: we the only people who are raised and I understand. Like my my thinking has evolved on this topic
Yeah.
because I used to be like Dominicans would go, "I'm not black, I'm Dominican." They don't have the same idea of race that we have in America. So in a way, we are kind of right for folk pushing the issue on them because we're not going down to the Dominican Republic and having this conversation. We're having this conversation in America.
Okay.
But from a Dominican standpoint, or like this new girl, Tyler, she has that song "Water" that's very famous or
Yeah.
whatever,
Oh yeah, it's good.
and I like to have sex with her. And this girl, she says, I can't identify as black because being black in South Africa has a
Wait,
very specific meaning.
wait. That's what she said.
Yeah, she can't be black because like to be black is to be like Zulu.
Right.
She has to. She
She's
is a
colored.
colored
She's
person.
colored. Yeah.
Her parents are Indian and mixed race black or whatever. So she's from a particular class with a particular history.
Wait. So our okay. So South Africa's history and America's histories are similar, but there are those distinctions as far as the names that they use that they aren't interchangeable. It- in this case, that this is an example because we would call ourselves black, but even if we went to South Africa, we'd be considered colored and not black because of the distinction that they make there.
I don't know. We might be considered black because
No,
we aren't really mixed race people.
no. Well, I was
They're,
told. I was told when I was told by a South African.
oh, okay.
He said, "You know what? When you come to South Africa, they're gonna look at you and call you colored. Like that's your status." And I was like, "Huh?" But
Maybe so. And maybe it's because we're also uh, outsiders. Like, yeah, like the politics of South Africa are different. That's the thing. Like, as black people, we got to realize, and that's why I'm saying we shouldn't automatically be looking at anybody in the diaspora as some sort of brother or sister because they don't have that ideology. Nigerians don't think of themselves black until they get here. They think of themselves as Igbo and Yoruba and whatever that other one they got over
Edo,
there,
I think Edo,
or,
Igbo,
or, or the
Yoruba.
Mandingos and all that shit.
Yeah.
They're tribal. They think of themselves based on whatever tribe they come from, as they should, because our ideology comes from the fact that we don't have a tribe in that way. We're united around a shared history
Yep.
of American chattel slavery based on skin color.
All right, we're gonna cut it right there. You're listening to the IC109 podcast. This is Mike and Larry, and we're doing our thing.
At 109 right now.
Oh, I got that girl's name. I can shit on her when I come back. When'd you get that TV?
You said when or where?
When?
Right after what's that thing called? Thanksgiving. Right around Thanksgiving.
You're at 109 right now.
Black Friday.
Yeah. So, man, that sucks because. All right, for that last segment, I was filming on 24 frames per second, which is the average for a movie. That's what we've been watching most of our movies on 24 frames per second. However, when you upload videos to YouTube, I think the standard is 60 frames per second. So there's going to be some conflict. So if I don't have video for that last segment, then we'll have video for this segment because I might have to scrap that thingamajig. But anyway,
Okay, I got a question for you. Let's say that you had a kid, you had a son, and he's 17 years old, and he asked you, he likes a girl, and she asked him if he could pay for her to get her hair done. What would you say?
I'll say, son, do you have a job?
Okay, let's say he has a job. He makes, let's say he makes $300 a week. She wants $300.
She wants 1 week's worth of his money to pay for something that.
Yeah, she wants something stupid.
Oh man, son, that's a lot of money. Do, who is this woman to you? I don't know. I think kind of instinctually, I was like, son, don't spend any money on that woman if she's not your wife. If she's not.
Wife, I would say, son, is she sucking dick? How much dick is she sucking out here? Cause like, if she ain't like sucking the soul out of you, I don't see the point. I'm paying for women just to be paying for women for what? For who? Nah, you don't owe nobody nothing. What's in it for the my lifelong theme for my child is what's in it for me? What do you get out of doing her hair? So what? She was getting her hair done before she met you.
Right.
Now if she's sucking the soul out of you,
Right.
and you want to keep your main eater happy,
Right.
hey, you might have to throw a couple of dollars every now and then. You know, you got to be practical out here. But other than that, what's the point? That would be my advice. Now, I want to transition into something else. The state of California is a piece of shit. We live in Southern California, which might as well be northern fucking Mexico with all these slow ass Mexicans around. So I'm doing my mail because my bitch wife doesn't bring the mail in. So I get my mail, and apparently the state of California says I haven't paid for my tags. Okay, but that's not true because they don't send the tags until you pay for them. So I opened it up. They said I bounced a check. I've written in the past 10 years maybe 3 checks. You know what happens when I have to write a check? I have to go in my secret stash of papers, pull out my checkbook, then go on the internet and look up how to write a fucking check again. Then I write the check and I put the shit back. The last check I wrote was for my passport to the U.S. government. So I know I didn't pay these people in a check, so I know a check didn't bounce. So I called the state of California yesterday online on hold for 20 minutes. Then they call me back 3 hours later. Fucking Mexican gets on the phone. You have to talk to these other people because we don't deal with the checks. We just called to see what you wanted. So on Monday, I gotta hopefully get a call from these other people explaining to me how I bounced a check that I never wrote. All of my dealings and here's the thing: the state of California actually charges you a service fee to pay with a credit card. So they charge me for the fucking tags, and then they charge me a service fee, and now they want to charge me an extra $100 because they say all the shit is late and I bounced a check. I hope this state catches on fire and floats in the middle of the fucking ocean. I hope it tears itself apart with racial strife and rioting the minute I leave this shithole. This is an awful place full of awful people. Don't come to California.
All right.
There's no jobs out here. It's northern fucking Mexico. Every time here's another thing. If you go to any like Albertsons or Vons adjacent to a Hispanic neighborhood, invariably there will be an old fucking Mexican in line who will never have done a transaction in her life before. So she's trying to figure out, I don't know how money works. I don't know what the fuck she's doing. So whenever I go to a line, I see which one doesn't have an old Mexican in it. Okay, then that's the one I choose.
Dude, could you not like have Archie Bunker, like your borderline, if not mainstream bigotry, bigoted talk? Like, Lord have mercy.
Should I not should I not say it or should I not experience it?
Oh my gosh. Now, my gripe with California is like a year or two ago I went to a couple years ago now I went to the DMV in Downey. I don't live in Downey. I was out that way. It was the nearest DMV. I needed to maybe pay for my tags, maybe do something. But I go to this end, who's probably an immigrant or a first or second generation, American, probably first, but she's got a job. She's got a job and she's working at the DMV. Tells me, tells the lone black man who was standing in the line, "Did you stand over there? Like, who told you to get into this line?" Or and all of this kind of stuff. And I'm saying to myself, "But I read the signs, and this is the line that I need to be in." Blah 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 blah. And I'm thinking to myself, "How dare you just decide? Oh, the black one needs to be orientated on how we do things here." Talking down to me, and I was like, "Excuse you." I was like, "No, I'm where I need to be." So then she proceeds to demand that I show her, ID. Like, okay, well, give me your ID now. And I'm like, this bitch doesn't know that I have been a customer with. No, no, excuse me. This wasn't the DMV. Sorry.
Oh my
This
god!
is even worse. It wasn't the DMV. It's AAA. So AAA means that you're a member and you're supposed to be treated like a member. All right. So there I am, being treated like I have no business being in there, and the woman's demanding, my ID, and then she's asking me, "What do you want? Like, what the hell are you here for?" And I tell her I need my tags or I need something like this. So then she looks into the system, finds my information, and then the question comes up, "Well, how are you gonna pay?" And I'm like, "I have my card right here. We're gonna use my card." So there was just this rude, presumptive nature of hers, and then so I pay for everything, and I'm like, I'm looking at her like, what was all that attitude? What was all of this for? I'm here to get my business taken care of. I got it taken care of. She processed me out. Then she has the nerve at the end of the transaction to say to me, for being a customer, like I'm a new customer. She's like, "At the AAA, we give you this. Here's a new bag, and here's some merchandise." And she put like this little bag together, and I was like, "I don't want any of this garbage. I don't want any marketing, unsolicited. None of this bullshit. Just keep that." That was my feeling. But I was just like, wait a minute. And then the worst part about it was, um, I was like, I hate that she didn't even know. She didn't even assume, presume. She didn't even think. Maybe he speaks Spanish. Maybe I can talk to him in Spanish. She just went to, oh, he's black. He doesn't know. Probably not a customer. He does, she went
Well,
through
why
all of
would
this.
you want her to speak to you in Spanish? That is completely dumb.
No, no, no,
First of
no.
all, you don't speak fluent Spanish,
Puedo hablar
so
español y trato de hablar español a veces.
you
I
do.
try.
Once again, you do not speak fluent Spanish. So she spoke to you in the language that you're fluent in, and then she gave you whatever promotional bullshit she's supposed to hand out to customers at the end of the interaction. All you had to say was no, I don't want it, and just walk off.
All I know
Just
is
say no, thank you, and just you had your card back, just leave.
why. Okay, then what about the asking me about how I got into this line? The signs clearly say, and the other people were lining up. There was only one line, and it was just a matter. So they have this system where you walk in, you stand behind this line, and then someone directs you, right? Well, no one was there to direct. Everyone was busy. I stood there for a minute waiting for instructions. I looked at the signs and I said, "Oh, that's where I need to go. So I went over into that line.
Yeah, I get it, but
And she's all, how did you get over here? What did you do? I'm like, hey.
yeah, just tell her relax. Go, hey, just chill out. Just relax yourself and let's get to it.
At that time, at that moment, I was upset. I thought to myself, she doesn't know that I have learned her language. Regardless of how much I have. No, there should be cultural sensitivity. There should be customer sensitivity.
No, it shouldn't be cultural sensitivity. You're a paying customer. That's the beginning and the end of it.
But when,
and if you didn't feel like you got the service that you deserved, you should have spoke to her boss. But the fact that you may or not speak Spanish is irrelevant. The fact that you were there to do business is all she needed to know.
The lady, and the problem that I had is when walking into these establishments, there's that, yes, can I help you? What do you want? That I get. Whereas if a Latino walks in, it's, oh, hola, ¿cómo estás? Oh, but, buenos dias. Oh.
What do you care?
That type of shit.
I like, you want to have a fake interaction with some Mexican, just do the business. I like it. I want them to call me sir. Hello, sir. How are you today, sir? What can I do for you, sir?
Yeah.
And then I'll go, I want this, this, and this. And then if they want to talk about chicharron or whatever the fuck they talk about with the Mexican behind me, great.
No. You're right. That's what I'm saying. There's a lack of the sir. There's completely a lack of that. I'm gonna give you another example. I'm in Costa Rica now.
Oh my God.
This was a few months ago. I walk into. All right, so in Costa Rica, across the street from their airport, there's a Denny's.
All right.
Next to the Denny's, there's this.
Denny's is racist here. Why would you go to another country and expecting it to be different?
I didn't go to the Denny's. I'm just giving the location. So next to the Denny's, across the street from the airport, there's this like little taco Mexican type of thing, where it's in Costa Rica. That's not the national foods, but that's what they're serving. They're serving like some Mexican dishes. So I'm like, all right. Like some grilled chicken and whatever. So I'm like, maybe they have some better food than that Denny's. I don't want to go into a Denny's anyway. So I'll go into the spot. I sit down and I wait. Nobody greets me. They look in my direction and they're looking at me like, what does he want? What's going on? Finally, someone approaches me and they're like, okay. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, all right, let me get this and that and the third, right? So finally, he looks at me and he's like, oh, okay, you want to order something? Oh, okay. So he writes my order down. I'm like, what the hell did you think I came in here for? What the hell do you think I've been sitting at this table waiting? Wait.
Okay, go ahead. This story's boring, but go ahead.
So what happens is, while he's taking my order, two white guys walk in.
Mm-hmm.
And he turns from me and he said, oh, welcome. Come on in. Have a seat. I'll be right with you in a moment. All of this. And I'm like, there was a complete shift in the amount of energy. There was a 180-degree turn. For me, it was dead, just dead. And then with them, oh, hey, turn the lights on, get the band playing. You guys, we're happy to see you. Come on, we know what you're here for. This guy, we don't know what he's here for.
If you feel like if it's that stark, then just get up and walk out. That's what I would do.
It's something that I've come to experience often, and it's kind of like, all right, if you're in New York and you're a black man and you can't catch a cab, what do? Pick up and leave the state? Because that's a real issue. That's a real experience.
It is not an issue.
It's a real experience.
It was, but now you just use your Uber or Lyft and keep it moving. That's why I like that. It's funny, like those medallions in New York City cost like $250,000, and people were taking, like, mostly like white people and immigrants. They didn't give black men shit. So most of these white men and immigrants were getting these medallions or whatever and taking loans against them and whatever. And then Uber and Lyft came in and destroyed the business, and they're crying and complaining. I love it because they weren't picking up black men anyway, so fuck them.
Right.
Oh, the girl I talked about in the other segment, her name was Sharika Soul. She was in a porno called Ghetto Gaggers to complete her fucking story of filth.
Wait a minute. The Haitian girl that you were talking
Yeah,
about?
she
She was
was
in porn?
supposedly she was in a porn called Ghetto Gaggers. There's a screenshot of her performing,
Oh, well.
but like,
Well, she's made a series of poor decisions, obviously.
yeah, but that's the whole thing. But they're all the fault of black men.
Right.
Yeah, it's all our fault.
She turns around and says, "No, well, you guys are to blame." All right, so let's shift gears and talk about Richie Mack and zoom to Thailand.
You know what? It's funny. Me and you. Well, maybe not so much you, but remember there was a dinner party when we lived in Saudi Arabia,
Yeah.
and some ugly black women came, and we had the same sort of conversation, and it just reminded me because I watched some of that Richie Mack thing, but then I was like, why would you go to the other side of the planet to have horrible conversations with birds you spent thousands of dollars trying to get away from? Like when I'm overseas, I don't even speak to black women. I go out of my way. Like if a black woman talked to me, I would pretend to speak a different language just so I wouldn't have to interact with her.
Okay, wait. So you're talking about Richie Mack's recent video where he was like arguing with the black woman about these issues that we face, that black men face in America, and what causes us to travel so far. And there he was in Thailand talking to a black woman who was arguing her
On the same bullshit. And it was funny because like his cute little Thai chick, she saw the vibes and she left the room. She was like, ugh. I felt so bad for him. I'm like, I couldn't imagine. I guess it's like for content.
Absolutely.
Like he kept the conversation going, but I would be like, that's why we're over here. We don't like you. You talk like this. Nobody wants to hear this. Like people, like black men in America that are stuck in the matrix, they got to put up with this nonsense conversation. But I'm in paradise with a Thai baddie that washes my drawers and cooks my dinner, and you over here with your feminist nonsense, and your husband is miserable. And he looks at my woman and my lifestyle, and then he goes home with you, and he hates himself. You know, Thailand is perfect except you live here. That's what I would have said.
Oh my God.
I would have said, I'm sure he's trying to figure out how to get divorced in Thailand. I was like, even for like $60, he could just like get a prostitute for the night that's more pleasant than you.
Oh man.
$60. That's all it would cost. You're a horrible, horrible woman.
Oh,
That all I heard was blah, 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 blah.
Oh man.
You're at 109 right now.
Since the video cut out, we gotta stop this. Let me get in, and then just do audio for the next one, or we'll just pick up from just audio.